Well, hello, Mount Tabor family, and welcome to another Monday morning Devo as we dive deeper into yesterday's sermon. And yesterday, Gray and Pastor Bob actually led our sermons in our different services. And I'm so thankful that they stepped up, and they were wonderful messages, and I hope and pray that you have heard them either in person or online. And I want to thank you all as well for allowing me to go to one of my former churches, Faith United Methodist Church in Indian Trail, which is in South Charlotte. They had an anniversary homecoming type service, and they invited me back, and it was an honor to connect with them across our Methodist connection, to be with them and to reminisce, and just a wonderful opportunity for me. But I also missed all of you, and I cannot wait to be back in the pulpit this week in both higher ground and in traditional service, But this past week, we continued in our Who Are You series, discovering the sacred selfie. And yesterday, Pastor Bob and Gray talked about the idea that you are salt and you are light. Now, they looked at a scripture from Matthew chapter 5, verse 13 through 16. And 14 through 16, I want to read real quickly, says this. It says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden." You can't hide yourself. "Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." And one of the things that comes to my mind when we talk about this particular passage is the idea that people sometimes say their faith is personal and private. Well, faith is always meant to be personal, a very personal thing for you and for me and for everybody. It's very deeply personal. In fact, I think it's the most ultimate personal thing. But it was never meant to be private, that we should share our faith in word and deed. Now, a lot of us are afraid to share our faith because we don't want to come off as those kind of people. And I get that. We've all been in those situations. But the reality is that if our faith is the driving engine of everything that we are, then we should be sharing our faith with other people in word and, yes, in deed. And so our light should shine. But there's a passage right before that one that was also read. Remember, I said you're not just light, you're salt. And Jesus says this. He says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot." Kind of severe, to be honest with you. But he said, you are the salt. You are the salt of the earth. And why is that important? Now, we all understand salt as a preservative, right? In the ancient world, it was highly vital to their understanding of food. And also in the ancient world, when you study some of their understandings of salt, they would see salt in its kind of pure form, and it would look holy, for lack of a better term, because it was shining and all of that. But the other thing about salt that I think is vitally important to helping us understand what Jesus is saying here at that time frame and today as well, because salt still serves the same purpose, is that salt adds flavor. It adds flavor to the food. And back then, it would add a tremendous amount of flavor to anything that they would eat. And it's the same thing for us today. And what I hear in that is this, is that as we discover our sacred selfie, we then let that self, right? We let that self, the selfie, flourish out beyond ourselves. Like, we don't just sit there and take pictures of ourselves metaphorically, even though we do that literally, right? That's the whole concept of a selfie. We let Jesus shine through us. We don't live in that bubble. We let Jesus shine through us, and we bring flavor to life. We bring to the world an understanding that Christianity is not boring. Christianity is not something that keeps you away from enjoying life. In fact, it brings the ultimate flavor to life. You know why? Because it came from the author of life, the one who created the world, and the one who gives us new life in his name. So often I think people view Christianity in such a negative way because it says, you can't do this and you can't do that. And by the way, there are things we shouldn't do. But it's not because God is a mean, angry God waiting just to smite you. No, it's because God knows what's best for us. And so when he tells us not to do something, it's because we should be doing something else, something that honors his name and brings life to the world, to share that flavor of Jesus with everybody we encounter. Because it's my contention that because of Jesus, when we dive deeper into our understanding of who he is, we see everything in our life, all our relationships, all our interactions, everything, we see them in a new way. And so my marriage is much deeper. My experience as a father is much deeper. When I eat food literally, right, I not only understand that it is something that is delicious, I understand that it is something that is given to me by God, and I'm very grateful for it, right? And it changes my entire mindset. When I walk out into a field and I see beautiful flowers, I see more than just the colors. I see God's creation flourishing. I see new life. And so that's what we find when we are the salt and light. That we bring light to the world, yes, but we also bring that unique flavor to show people that Christianity is not about simply saying no. It's about saying yes to God. I hope and pray that you have a great Monday, and I hope and pray that you have a great rest of the week. God bless you.